Well, hello, welcome to this particular show. Today we're going to talk a little bit about why you might want to set up that RAID 5 that I've been talking about over the past several shows, part of this building this new machine that I call the Beast, for lack of any better word. I mean, I've got the coffee 124, the other Enterprise 17. I just called it the Beast. So why might you want this? And this is particularly interesting to gamers. Now, I'm not a gamer. Don't have anything against it. Here's no copy of Diablo. I think that was the last game I played, and I looked it up. Well, the reason I thought about that is I saw something on the internet, on the meme, like, do you realize that this was 1996? Well, no, I didn't. Thank you for telling me I'm old. I still have my collector's edition Diablo 2. Anyway, I don't game, but I have gamed in the past. It's just, you get old, you get slow. So, but this episode will be good for, I think, gamers in particular, but also for other people as well. Let's get in it. Well, I'm glad you stuck around, because I know I give an explicated version of everything. I do like to explain things rather than just kind of go that super fast attention deficit syndrome type of individual that goes boom, boom, where you have to back it up and look, back it up and look, back it up and look. Okay, so here's the deal. You might run into a real nasty error, and if you'll stick around, I'll show you how you might fix it. I can't guarantee it'll fix it, but we'll talk about that as we go. But anyway, let's get started, shall we? With the actual doing it. Well, we're very close to it. We have to put our SN770s here, and here for our Windows volume, our soft RAID, whatever it is that Windows calls it. We have the Linux here. We have the Windows 10 on that one, and we have, of course, on the big drive, the Gen 5, the T705 by Crucial. We have it set up to do the Windows 11. So we're going to put the drives in, take them out of the two old external that we used to have so that we can set up the RAID. We've already copied both of the two previous ones onto the Crucial. And as soon as the next drive arrives tomorrow, we'll be able to put it in the slot here and make sure that we have a copy of the two Western Digital SN770s that are currently duplicated on the T705. We're going to take them off of the 770s, put them on the blue, Western Digital blue, and that will go into the fire safe, and that way we can go ahead and clean out the three that we're going to use for that soft RAID. That, what do you call it, RAID 5, which is striping with parity. Well, here we are. We need to make our three SN770s into one logical drive using the soft RAID, or what Windows calls the storage spaces, right here on the control panel. And I do have it set up to show us the small icons, I guess it is. So we hit storage spaces, and it's going to say create a new pool and storage space, which is what we're going to do with our little soft RAID type thing. Now what we're going to do is create a new pool, because that's our option at this point. We don't have one existing, so there's no deleting or migrating or anything like that. So we're going to say yes, we want to have access. Now it detects that we have some drives out here with some data on it. Now we're going to look for this one, the MP600. That happens to be a drive that we use with the Win 10. So we're just going to say take that offline. All right, so now we have Western Digital Black Disk 2 that has files on it. Western Digital Black has no files on it that I know about yet. Well, it says it does. Western Digital Disk here, 770. These are our 3 drives. So we can view files. Okay, that's one that we have used in the past, right? We're going to make that go away. That would be disk number 1. This one is probably going to be disk number 2. Let's view the files, right? That is the disk number 2 that's partially full. Let's close that off. And now we have disk number 3, which really shouldn't have files on it. No, just recycle bin and system volume information, which technically are files, but they're the right ones. So we're going to select the 3 disks in a row, the 770s, and because I'm paranoid about deleting stuff, I like to put the name of the drive, the type of drive, into the description. Now this is actually, I think, pulling it up off of the Windows bit. We're going to say create a pool, leaving off this one other drive that's available that's not an operating, well, it's not operating system right now. Now what it's going to do is we have, what? Can't create the pool. And now I've not seen that before. The physical disk sector size is not supported by the storage pool. Well, that's special. Let's clean those drives off. All right, so let's go to the main page here and hit, let's do a partition. Let's make the big white screen disappear and stretch out our drive space so we can see it well. It does say that these 3 are unallocated. So they did clean them off quite well. They're all 1862, 1862, 1862. Let's see what the problem is. Let's try that again. On the unformatted drive, these are our 3 Western Digitals. Let's create the pool. We may have to look up this error. A few moments later. Well, let's see where we are right now. We have moved our data off of our backup storage space and moved it on to the Western Digital Blue. Now we're ready to create our storage space, our RAID 5 with our 3 SN770s. Now to do that, I did go ahead and clear them off. Deleted all of the partitioning information. So let's go to our control panel. I have a shortcut down here set up, and I like the smaller ones. It gives me more information, kind of like a shotgun versus the big icons where you have to remember where things are, but it's just right there, storage space. Let's see if it will do it without giving us some sort of an error. There we have. These are our 3 unformatted drives ready to go. And hopefully if we hit create pool, it will proceed to the next step. If you like this content, please go to calldelltosell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you. Thank you. But it's just right there, storage space. Let's see if it will do it without giving us some sort of an error. There we have. These are our 3 unformatted drives ready to go. And hopefully if we hit create pool, it will proceed to the next step. Hey, beep, beep, beep. Let's back that truck up. Are you going to tell us how you fixed it or not? Oh, that. Well, you know, sometimes in Windows when you rename a hard drive and it doesn't seem to take, it just stares at you, same name it had before, and you rename it again and rename it again. You know, this is just my opinion, but I think Windows is so busy trying to mine your data, trying to exploit you, trying to force stuff on you against your will, like Copilot and recall and all this other stuff that we don't know anything about that's going on, that I think they forget what they're there for, which is to be a computer disk operating system. All I did was restart the system to make it load everything up fresh, and it works fine. And it did. So what do we want to do? We're going to go ahead and let it be drive letter G. Resiliency way, let's two-way mirror. Let's pull this up into a parity. We want that for our resilience type, parity. And we want to make sure that we have a storage can be no larger than the amount of available capacity in the storage pool. When you run low on capacity on the pool, you need to add more drives. Well, this is important. At least it's my opinion that it's important. First of all, it may or may not force you to do so, but I believe that you should use exactly the same type on your logical drive that you do for any of them. So if you have, here I use SN770s, and I use 3 of them. You're going to have, you want to do RAID 5, you're going to have a parity. It's going to stripe, that's going to make it faster, but just striping alone makes it subject to total loss if you have a drive failure. So we use parity. So it's 1 extra drive. So if we have 2 drives, we need a 3rd. If we have 3 drives, we need a 4. If we have 4 drives, we need a 5th. Now the benefit of that is that you're reducing the size of your parity, the cost of your parity, of your ability to do so. So I think whenever your drive array starts to get within the parity size, whatever they are, like in these cases they're like 1.3 or something terabytes when they're supposed to be 2 terabytes, but it formats out or whatever to be like 1.5 or 1.8 or whatever it happens to be. 1.8 I guess it is. Whenever you get within 2 terabytes, I think you need to expand your array at that point, because if it dies, if you have some troubles, you need to be able to rebuild that space, and if it was over that, they won't actually fit. At least that's my understanding of it. They won't fit very well that total amount of data. So I think that's what that note is trying to tell people. Don't get them too full, because if you need to add to, or if one fails, you need to be able to migrate back and forth, that kind of stuff. Repair it, as they would say. Well, let's see if this will do it, because it's going to tell us our total capacity is going to be 5 terabytes, 5.45 terabytes. That seems a bit large for RAID 5, and size maximum is 3.63. Let's go ahead and create the storage, see what happens. Well, there we are. Let's see about that drive size. It says that it is in fact 3.62 terabytes. That's almost our 4 terabytes. We anticipated losing 1 to parity. And of course we have some sectoring and some identification in there on each of the drives. So that looks like it's probably going to be about right. So I'm going to put this in as our RAID. And we're going to apply that. Yes, we need that. We're okay. Now let's see what it tells us. We have storage capacity G. We have to probably refresh to see if it took our name. It did not want to do that. So let's rename that again. It is renamed, but it is not showing up in our pool. Close that out, hit it again. Let's see if it shows us. There we go. We got a good refresh on that. So it does show it as RAID is on G. With the viewer's forbearance, I've got a new setup and I'm trying to monitor the echo that I seem to be getting out of this new room with these slanted ceilings. So you may get a little bit of an echo. I may be able to correct it in post-production with some AI. We'll try it also. I'm running the studio software again. New configuration, just set it up, not even tweaked it just yet. But I do want to look at something real quick. I want to look at this crystal disc mark, and I want to just see how it will perform when comparing it to what I want to do is I want to check out how our Gen 5 Crucial 705 compares, which is supposed to be a fairly fast NVMe. I want to see how it compares to this RAID that we just set up, because there's a possibility that if you are deciding to use and to buy a Z890 board with the new Intel Core Ultras, they have some expansion in them that the old Z90s, 790s didn't have. And one of the things that I think we can look at while I'm just talking while this thing runs is if you can RAID perhaps in those 5 extra NVMEs that are there on the lower portion of the board, you may be able to populate them with maybe not the super fastest, NVMEs that you have available to you. Unlike this 705 is a darn pricey drive, if you want to call it that. It's pretty dear. They're very proud of it. And in that regard, we're using all 3 of those drives. So that takes 3 of the 6. There's only 3 left, which we've populated with Western Digital SN770s. They're 2 terabyte drives. And so when we spread them on a RAID with parity, that's going to be 3 drives. So one of them is going to go away. We're going to get to 2 terabytes, or about 4 terabytes. The question is, we have them set up here as this G, all right? We're going to look at it. It's 63% full, and we're going to look at how it compares. Look at these numbers on that Gen 5. These are just kind of middle of the road Gen 4s. They're not bad, about $120 for 2 terabytes. Here's the question. Can you use a RAID with redundancy just in case one of those drive dies to make, to get by when you, want a little bit of performance? Now we're running the exact same test here. Well, that's it. Let's go ahead and close it off and take a look at our recording. Well, clearly I didn't demonstrate how much gain you'd get in your RAID if you had DRAM cache. We can expect it brings it up, because if it brings it up on the individual, it should bring it up en masse when we RAID them together. Also, I can't show you just how much more fast 5 drives would be versus just the 2 drives, with the parity being 3. So 2 extra drives doing in the stripe, in the running off there should speed it up about twice as fast as we were with my little RAID. So yeah, if you're a gamer particularly and you're doing a lot of reads, this might be a good way to do it if you happen to have one of these new Z890 boards with your Core Ultra processor on it that has those five NVMe spaces on the PCIe 4.0 space. You know, the drives are going to be cheaper in the future. You know they will, as we come out with more and more demand for the PCIe 5 stuff. They're going to get cheaper. So maybe now is the time for you to go ahead and upgrade. No, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you get the idea. Plus, you get a little bit of safety in that if you lose just one drive, hardware failure, you can replace that as long as you don't get it too skimpy on your reserve space. You can always, rotate the stuff out, prepare to remove it, put a new one in there, and then spread it back out. But that's a video for a different day and something I have not yet done. Appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for the next video.